What's up, guys? Nick here from Budget Decks coming at you with another freaking deck profile. Today we have the Sky Brigade. Wait a minute, no, I'm sorry. We have the For Hires. That's right. This is the new deck profile. $13 to buy this beautiful deck. Wait, but Nick, how? Because there's two cards that are worth over $10 each. How did you get a playset of both of them and still manage to get the rest of the deck for like only $13? Well, first off, I don't have those cards because one, they're obviously way too expensive, and two, they're honestly not completely necessary. Granted, not having the Revival spell and the Searching Monster, those two cards, while they do speed the deck up significantly, they are not necessarily necessary for this deck. But this is a pure build of the For Hires for what I know that is available. Granted, I built this about 3 weeks ago, so I may be out of date a little bit, but I just received all of it in the mail. And here we are, we're going to go through it, and let's talk about it. So here we go. Let's start with the deck profile. So we're running a tight 40-card deck. First and foremost, we're going to run 3 copies of our main boss monster, Raphael, Champion for Hire. His effect is you can discard, well, when he's special summoned using the effect of a... No, actually, I'm sorry. When he's just special summon, period, you can activate the top 2 cards of your deck and then add a For Hire from those 2 to your hand. The other one goes back in your deck. Really good card. Gives you that extra little bit of search you need. He is searchable off the field spell, which is really nice. If you use the Searcher monster in your actual build and you're willing to spend more than $13 on this deck, he is also searchable from that Searching monster. His other effect is pretty good. When a monster activates an effect that targets one of your boys, you can discard 1 For Hire card and negate the effect and destroy the monster, which is pretty freaking cool. So yeah, 3 copies of your boy Raphael. Pretty good there. As you see, we got the Dark Magician Girl playmat. I've had this for a while, just haven't been using it in my deck profiles. Next up is Wiz, Sage for Hire. This is just another one of the boss monsters. I felt like if I had all the For Hire boss monsters in the deck, it would be a nice little... thingy-mabobber to have. So 2 copies of Wiz, Sage for Hire. She lets you gain life points when she's summoned, which is quite nice. Then we have 2 copies of Dinah, Hero for Hire, which is really nice. Dinah's pretty cool. He's a 2500 beat stick. And plus, if there's any For Hires on the field, your opponent can only attack him, which is also quite nice. And then rounding up the boss monsters, we do run 1 copy of Sagitta Maverick for Hire. Sagitta is pretty cool. It inflicts 500 burn damage to your opponent for each For Hire you control with a different name, except for herself, which is honestly really cool. She also prevents your opponent from targeting For Hire monsters with card effects. Wiz prevents them. Wiz negates, what is that? Spell, trap, or card effects by discarding 1 card. And then Dinah, doesn't let your opponent attack other For Hire. So they have their uses. Honestly, their effects are a little underwhelming if you ask me. When I originally played this deck online way back when this deck first got announced, I never used them because honestly all I needed was Raphael. Granted, you do have room for them now that you're not using the Searcher and the Revival. Next up, starting with the little girls, we're going to start... Oh, sorry, that sounded really weird. Starting with our little guys. There we go. That sounds a little better. 3 copies of Dampa, Marksman for Hire. When a card is special summoned using her primary effect to the field while she's on the field, once per turn, you can target 1 face-up card on the field and destroy it. So this destroys face-up cards. And then we have its cousin, Recon, Scout for Hire. Recon destroys face-down cards. So you have your Dampa, which destroys face-up, and your Recon that destroys face-down. Now remember the For Hire effect, they all have the effect of you can special summon 1 For Hire from your hand once per turn. All the little For Hire monsters have that effect, which is really nice. And then when you summon a For Hire with that effect, you can use their other effect, their secondary effect. It makes sense when you play the fucking deck. Just buy the fucking deck and play it, all right? It makes sense. Trust me. All right, let's clean this up a little bit. Let's make sure we get Dark Magician Girl's elbows in there. That elbow. Look at that. Look how pointy that shit is. Jesus Christ, that's literally a fucking triangle. It's so pointy. I never noticed that before. Next up, we're gonna do... It's a fucking triangle. I didn't realize that. It's a fucking... What type of triangle is that? Geometry nerds. What type of triangle is her elbow? It's fucking... Oh my god. Yeah, I want to know what type of triangle is. It looks like it's just like a regular vanilla triangle. It's definitely not a right triangle. It's not an obtuse triangle, nor is it an isosceles triangle. Would it be a vanilla triangle? I don't know. Some geometry nerd. Tell me what type of triangle her elbow is. Anyway, 3 copies of Helmer, Helmsman for Hire, fucking elbow. Helmer, Helmsman for Hire. Again, has the for hire effect. And then also, when a monster is special summoned to your side of the field, you can discard a card, draw a card. Pretty simple. Reset. Nothing too special, but again, got to make those numbers. And honestly, the artwork is quite nice for Helmer. I like her artwork. Granted, the scaly tail is a little weird. You know, I am a fan of the tail, but... Well, I'm a fan of real tails, not fake tails. Okay, I'm not a furry. I'm not a furry. I like butts. I like seeing women's butts. Okay, I'm just going to shut up now. 3 copies of Seal, Strategist for Hire. Seal's pretty good. He's the recycler of the deck, basically. When you special summon a for hire, he gets 1 for hire monster from the grave back into your hand, which is quite nice, allowing you... if you combine him and her, you can come up with some pretty clever things, in my opinion. But yeah, 3 copies of Seal. He's actually quite important. Plus, he's a level 4, which is nice. So if you want to get those Xyz in there, get my boy Seal in there. Next up, the other most important level 4, which is going to be Bravo, Fighter for Hire. When a for hire is special summoned to the field, all for hires gain an extra 500 as long as they have different names. And of course, he does have the for hire effect. Plus, he has probably some of the best artwork in the archetype, in my opinion. I just love how he looks. Like, look at that. He's just a beautiful mother trucker. Oh my god, he's gorgeous. Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Oh my god, he's beautiful. Oh my god. Oh, he's gorgeous. Oh, bravo, Fighter for Hire. Okay, anyway. So, back to the deck profile. Now we're on to the spells and traps. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this. Now on to the spells and traps. First, we're going to start with the spells. I'll be honest, I believe we have 22 monsters in the deck. So this right here is the monsters. This right here... spoilers. Spoilers. And then this right here is the actual deck. I don't know if you can kind of tell, but... yeah, there's definitely a lot more monsters in there. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's really freaking dumb. Okay, anyway, sorry. 3 copies of the field spell Fandora, the Flying Fortress. Get it? Get it? Fortress? Fortress? Do you freaking get the pun? If you don't get it, fuck off. Alright, so instead of drawing a card, you can search on your draw phase. If you control 5 or more monsters with for hire, different names, destroy your opponent's field. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Honestly, that search effect is really nice. It actually does help the deck a lot, especially for the budget players like myself. Don't forget about that. And obviously, if you're going to run 3 field spells, you gotta run the 3 terraforming. Again, I have not been keeping up with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So whether or not this is limited to 1, semi-limited at 2, or unlimited, I don't know. Haven't been paying attention. But I put 3 terraformings in here. Let me know in the comments if terraforming's been hit yet. If it hasn't, well, then don't say anything at all. Next up, in the spells... 1 copy of... Now for our one-offs, I'm sorry. 1 copy of Book of Moon. Make sure it's nice and shiny like this to establish your dominance to your opponent when you use Book of Moon on them. Then 1 copy of Soul Charge for that revival, because we are lacking our revival in this deck a lot, so we need to make sure we have something like that. The 1 card that actually made this go from like $8 to like $13, because I'm an idiot, Upstart Goblin. I've never used an Upstart Goblin in a deck before, and I thought, why the hell not? It's under $10. I'll put the money down for an Upstart. You can trade this out for a 1 Day of Peace and probably still have a sub $10 for hire deck. Pretty freaking good card. But all in all, it's just a faster 1 Day of Peace. In my opinion, you just get that extra card, and your opponent doesn't get a card. And then the card that has saved me in every single duel yet. This deck is undefeated in my local circuit being like 2 or 3 people that I duel against on a weekly bait once every week, sometimes once every 2 weeks because I don't play that often anymore. This has actually saved me every single duel. I've seen it every duel, don't know why, it's limited to 1. Reasoning. Reasoning is the most overpowered card in this deck, and here is why. Let me just grab this right here. So you'll notice that all their levels are different. Look at that. They all have different levels. Isn't that nice? Wow, we can use Reasoning. It's really nice because Reasonings, with their levels all over the place, it just really helps. You get that free special summon. I've lucked out into getting Rafael off of that several times. Like, honestly, just great card. For those that don't know what Reasoning does, your opponent has to pick a level between levels 1 through 12. And then you have to draw until you reach a monster. If that monster you draw is not the level your opponent calls out, you can special summon it to your field. If it is the monster that if it is the level that your opponent called, then you have to throw it to the graveyard. Now, all other cards that you draw during that time also have to go to the graveyard. So it's actually really good for deck thinning and kind of just smalling out the deck. I've seemed to have like the worst luck with this deck, so I've been throwing away all my like traps and spells with it, but that's kind of nice because you really do need the monsters. Anyway, so that's kind of the roundup for the spells. Literally just the field spell and some random freaking cards. Last but not least, the traps. Honestly, they have the Fur Hires have an amazing trap. It's called Training for Hire. Fur, all your training needs. Do you get it? Do you get the pun? Furtress, all your training needs. Furtress, you get the puns that they're making. They're making some mad puns. Look at that triangle elbow. This card right here, when your Fur Hire monster gets destroyed by a card effect or by battle, you can special summon one Fur Hire with equal or lower level from your deck, which is really good, especially if you want to pull some bullshit with your own effects. It doesn't have to be by your opponent. Oh, no, yeah. Okay. Well, it does have to be opponent's card effect. Well, that's disappointing. Anyway, doesn't matter. It still is really good, especially because the Fur Hires are kind of weak, so that free special summon is honestly really nice. Okay, and then on to our final traps here. 3 copies of a cheaper version of Monster Reborn called Haunted. Pretty self-explanatory. You just need that revival. And then 1 copy of Compulsory Evacuation Device. I know it's at 3 right now. I get it, but I'm only running 1 because this is a 40 card deck, and I'm running it nice and tight. Anyway, guys, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed building this deck. Granted, I built it online originally, so when I bought this and realized like I can't buy the Searcher or the Revival, that was a little disappointing, but that's okay. All in all, really good deck. Would highly recommend buying it. I would give, if I were to rate this deck on a scale of 1 out of 10, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. Just because, no extra deck. I'm an extra deck man. I like a little bit of extra in my life. So without the extra deck, that's a little disappointing, but that's okay. Got to keep it cheap. Also, the boss monster, kind of underwhelming, just because he's just a simple, one monster negate, and honestly, his attack stats, while very big, still kind of small. I hope they come out with another level 8. Champion for Hire, simply so I can get rid of the other boss monsters and then run 3 copies of Raphael and 3 copies of the other level 8, and then I can just use a trade-in engine to help kind of speed the deck along a little bit with the draw power. I'm a huge fan of the trade-in engine. Granted, trade-in is a little expensive, and that does bring up the cost of it, but I am more than willing to pay $20 for this deck to get a little bit faster. And by $20, I mean overall cost of the deck. I'm not saying I'm going to pay $20 for like a trade-in. I'm not going to pay $20 for a card. Hell, I don't even want to pay $2 for a card. Like, I had to have a big moral debate to get the upstart fucking goblin. It's expensive as shit, all right? Like, I'm not made of money. I make like no money a paycheck. For the love of God, Yu-Gi-Oh's expensive, especially nowadays. It's really expensive. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Hope you guys like this deck profile. I know I did very much. Everyone, let me know what you think of the deck in the comments. Play around with this deck on the internet. Let me know how you do. And if you hate me, send me a picture with you flipping me off. Anyway, all of you have a wonderful rest of your day. Mr. Mustache, you stay sexy. Bye-bye.